You can't control what happens to you in life, but you can control how you respond. I've learned to put my focus on how I'm gonna respond to things. How am I gonna respond? One day you're gonna have a good day, the next day you're gonna have a bad day. You gotta know how you're gonna respond in those different situations. You know, as a parent, one of my greatest fears is that I would send my kid to school and that they would either get like bullied at school or there'll be some kind of a violence that would happen at school while she's there. And you know, I've read a lot of parent surveys over the years. And you know what I've learned from those surveys from parents is that I'm not alone. Did you know there are a lot of parents that have an anxiety, not only for themselves, but also for their kids? We can do our part to reduce that anxiety that parents have. You know, there's a saying that says that money flows to problems. All the problems that we have in America, as soon as one new problem comes up, what do? Hey, let's find some money for it. Boom. You've heard of this bully prevention problem that we've had for almost forever. All this money started flowing through it. So now what do we have? We have documentaries on it. We have movies on it. We have school programs on it. It's been saturated with money. Most programs are actually focused on reporting. And what happens is the majority of students, they don't report. I remember when I was 12 years old and every day I would have to go to school and I had to see this guy. Man, this guy made my life bad. I didn't want to go to school because of him. Why? Because if you've ever been hurt, you know this feeling. That person becomes unstable to you. So whenever you're around them or you see them, they create an unstable environment. You don't want to be around them. Why would you want to be around the person who you know has hurt you in the past? And that's what happened. I would have to go to school with this guy. I had to go to class with this guy. I changed my behavior. He didn't change his, I changed mine, but mine changed for the worse. And this happens so much. Why? Because I didn't want to say something, all because I didn't want to say what was happening at school to a school official, to a counselor, to principal. And I had them all at my disposal, but I had this fear. And it's a fear that so many students have today, the fear of being a snitch. Listen, I remember this, man. I remember growing up and there was a stigma around telling the truth. Snitches get stitches. But listen, it's not just students that have a fear of being a snitch. You know, I was reading a recent report about what happened in the 90s. The Naval Academy, they were gonna have this one exam, they call it the double E for engineering. It's like a big exam. And the day before the test, one of the cadets actually received a copy of the test. And so what did they do? They went back and they showed it to some of their shipmates. After the test was completed and started seeing test scores, they started seeing the results were a lot similar, like people were actually cheating on the test. The Navy has a high honor code. They live on, man, we're not gonna lie, we're not gonna steal, and we're not gonna cheat. Those three things we're gonna die by. And here we have hundreds that are cheating. They started interviewing some of those who came forward and said, yeah, it was me, you know? Yeah, it was me, yeah, it was me. They said, okay, well, who are some of the other people? Tell me who else was involved. There's no way I'm gonna tell you. Why? Because they had this fear. It's a fear that you and I both have as well. It's the fear of being a snitch. Today, I know that there's a big difference between snitching on someone and reporting someone. I brought a couple of buckets to kind of illustrate this for us today. This is your thought process. If you're getting picked on, if you've ever been bullied, this is what goes on in your mind. If I tell an adult that I'm gonna be a snitch, you do it so that they can get in what? In trouble. That's a snitch. However, when you report someone, when you tell an adult, you do it so that they can get help. Even though you're saying the same thing. It's all your thought process, that's all it is. You tell yourself worst case scenarios. So we tell ourselves, yeah, not only I'm gonna get them in trouble, but guess what? I'm gonna get in trouble. All parts of the military, they're all founded on loyalty. Man, I have your back, you better have mine. You give your life for me, I'm gonna give my life for you. So they brought somebody in, and the end result was this. We're gonna put the ship before the shipmate. The reason why is because if you put yourself first, the whole ship is in jeopardy, and now everybody's going down. A lot of times what we do in America, we only think about ourselves first. I want you to start seeing coming to school as, man, I'm coming into something bigger than myself. This is a community, this is a school culture. Like, we have a way of doing things. Like, we value certain things. There's certain things we do, and we're not gonna let other people like do otherwise. And one of them obviously needs to be not letting people get bullied.